primarily the PUE figure for these 23 data centres. And the data centres were over a range of different service providers. So there were banks, financial institutions, government institutions, schools and education, transportation infrastructure, and a casino. So there was quite a diverse range of buildings that we looked at for this study. The study took us a little over a year to complete, and we were able to carry out the study sequentially, primarily because the temperature and humidity in Singapore remains constant throughout the year. And that's very important in this respect because you want to be providing an even benchmark when you're looking at these types of studies. So had there been significant climatic and seasonal differences, it would have been very difficult to give a true and accurate benchmark across all three of the data centres. But given Singapore's stable climatic conditions, it made life easier for us. Just to start us off, I'd like to look at some of the efficiency measures that we can use in the data centre. The previous speaker was speaking about DPPE, of which PUE is one of the matrices that we can use. I won't call it a measurement because it's not very regularly used as a measurement. But we can also look at load density in the data centre, and particularly we can look at the carbon usage effectiveness in the data centre. I think this is more or a better indicator of how efficient our data centre operations are. We can also use it, again, as the previous speaker said, water usage effectiveness, energy reuse, and any energy reuse factors. And I agree with the previous speaker when he was saying that we ought to combine these factors to give us a more accurate measurement of effectiveness in the data centre environment. Just a little graphic there to show you where you might see these particular measures. So we have the carbon usage effectiveness, the water usage effectiveness, we have our ERF and ERE, and our core PUE at the bottom. The reason I don't see PUE as a very effective tool is that the calculation is far too simplistic. Total energy for the data centre from all fuels against total IT energy consumed in the data centre. What that doesn't take into account are electrical losses and heat losses. It's a very simple formula. If you were to try to represent PUE correctly, the first thing you would need to do would be to take into account all the losses that occur throughout the mechanical and electrical systems. That will give you a more accurate figure. But you also need, with PUE, to be able to measure those energy uses continuously. And that's going to require a mindset change from the owners of data centres. The first thing that I see when I go into data centres is the CFO. And we all know that the bean counters, the accountants, run the world nowadays. So the first thing that the accountants want to see is a return on their investment. So what am I going to get out of spending this money on making data centre improvements? And you have to show them a dollar figure that they're going to say. Because if you don't, they won't invest in that improvement. The other thing about data centres particularly, and buildings generally, is that the owner of the building thinks that his data centre is going to last him for 20 years. And that he won't have to make any repairs, he won't have to maintain it, he won't have to change items of critical plant and equipment. So life cycle management is very important. I've commissioned probably 5 million square metres of data centre space in my life.